But the big problem with fasting, in my opinion, is that it doesn't teach you how to eat, right? It just teaches you how to delay your eating. Yes.
So if you're still just eating pizza, not that we hate on pizza, we love a pizza moment, but if you're eating pizza 3 times a day,
yeah, not exactly going to be super beneficial. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Strong, Well-Fed, and Outspoken. I am one of the dynamic duo here. My name is Rusty, or Coach Frizzle, or the Miss Frizzle of Fitness if you are new.
And I am Coach Nell, and I'm glad you said one of two and not one of many. I'm like, we're special here.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good podcasts. I definitely love me a good podcast. But,
I have a confession. I rarely listen to podcasts. I'm okay with being alone with my thoughts,
I remember when we were first talking about doing this, and I think I even said to you, like, what are ones you listen to right now? And you were like, none.
What's a podcast? Yeah.
Yeah, that's well, I was gonna say, if you listen to podcasts, let us know in the comments, but that's
we would assume you do. Although maybe you came across us and you listened one time.
yeah, which we're not mad about. You're here. So you guys, this episode, if you have been listening literally in sequence or not, if you haven't, I honestly recommend going back and listening to the last 2 episodes we did, because right now we're kind of in the middle of gearing you guys up for 2026. We know that a lot of people set goals this time of year, ourselves included, and there can be a lot of excitement. There can be a lot of pressure right now to just feel like, I got to figure it out. I got to come up with something that's going to
have to do something. Yeah, I think that's very, very common right now, is this, you feel pressured to commit to something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And I mean, in the last couple episodes, Nell and I have really been talking about, in the past, we've been part of that 80% that tend to have given up on their goals, no matter what they are, come the middle of February. Mm-hmm. That's an astonishing number. And we have totally been a part of that statistic. So
multiple times, I would say.
Yes, many years. So we really want to gear you guys up, help you guys get set up for success from a workout perspective, a habit perspective, which we really covered 2 episodes ago. Motivation we talked about, and how to literally build consistency, because it really doesn't matter. I mean, you're probably interested in fitness and nutrition if you're listening, but any goal that you set, consistency is going to be a huge part of that equation. This episode, we're focusing more on kind of diving into, I guess, the nitty gritty for
maybe sort of debunking some of the ideas you may be thinking about trying.
Yes, exactly. Because, every January, I mean, we always see some new diets. Have you seen any new diets right now that have popped up for you?
I haven't. Okay, so I haven't seen any new diets, but actually last night I was hanging out with a friend and he opened my eyes to a whole new sort of stream. Very similar to what a lot of us women lived through in the late 90s, early 2000s. What? But young gentlemen, 14, 15, 16. And I was like, whoa, what?
Because when I think about what we lived through, it was pushing thinness, being small.
Yes. And so it's very diet culture based, very aesthetic based, and a lot of young men out there. So young men, if you're listening, we're going to break this down. But yeah, it's extreme dieting to look a certain way. And it's, so I went down a rabbit hole. I did not sleep enough last night.
Yeah.
But a lot of it stems, or at least the nutrition side of it, is very much in a restrictive, very low calorie diet. So, I mean, it's not a new diet, but it's a new demographic that is really being targeted.
Can you send me one of those videos?
Yeah, when I get more of them, I'll send them your way. Absolutely. Because this was the first time I'd heard of it. It was kind of blowing my mind.
That makes me nervous a little bit.
Yes.
That's because I mean, we know what we went through as women, and I don't want to see anybody ever, no gender, going through that again. So
no, and it's really interesting because often younger male athletes we're told to be strong and to eat performance based. And this is the first time there's information for them to not do that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's really concerning. Yeah. You got to send me one of these videos.
Yeah. when my TikTok algorithm starts feeding it to me, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen anything yet myself that's out of the norm.
Outrageously or different than the last little
Yeah,
while. Yeah.
and that's the thing. I feel like we do tend to see the same diets come back around. I mean, throughout the year, but definitely they like peak in January. Fasting, low carb, or keto, right? Going really low carb. Whole 30 is a big one that I know a lot of people start to follow. 75 hard, I want to say, is probably one of the biggest ones that I feel like people jump into as part of a challenge for January.
And I've
like,
even seen lots of like people I know that kind of work in coaching, or they want to kind of take that leap, still committing to this. And
yes.
I have thoughts on that.
Yeah, which we're totally going to get into, you guys. Carnivore as well. That's like another big one. And again, like we see these all throughout the year, but we tend to see them pick back up now because again, as we're setting goals, all of these diets, and even if there's one that you have seen that we didn't mention, I want you to think about it. They're all promising you pretty much the same thing, right? Fast results, discipline, and a fresh start. I think it's the fresh start, of course, January 1st that comes along with the major appeal, but then it's the fast results. It's, we're going to get you disciplined, which feels motivating in and of itself. But the problem is, like, if these approaches actually worked long term, you wouldn't be starting over again.
No, and we've talked about this in other episodes where as humans, we almost feel like no pain, no gain. And so these kind of sort of extreme structures, we're like, yeah, that's going to get me. It's going to work because it's going to suck.
Yes. Yeah. The extreme is, it's exhilarating. It catches your attention. But again, all of the issues you had in previous years are going to be issues this year if you don't actually deal with the deeper things. So today we really want to walk you guys through some of these diets that we tend to see, because you might be honestly considering one of them right now. And before we get started, what I really want to say is it's important for you guys to know that we are not anti any of these diets. Really, we're not. We are pro following a nutritional plan where you actually know all the facts. We are pro doing something that's sustainable. We are pro teaching you both sides of the story so you feel like your most informed self.
Yeah, because I truly do feel that there's a time and place for a lot of these tools.
Definitely agree.
Right? Like I would use some of these methods with certain people, right?
Yep.
That's why they exist.
Yep.
But yeah, a lot of us go into them unaware, or someone says, this worked really great for me, and they're being successful in it, and you're like excited for them and they're excited, but we never really see that what's next.
Exactly.
Right? So there's like this herd mentality of like, yeah, everyone I know is doing it, because we know there is power in support and having a support system. Yep. But what happens in 3 months?
Exactly.
Nobody talks about when they've joined that 80% of people who failed. Nobody wants to talk about that.
Exactly. New year, new diet, same shitty results.
It's true.
It really, really is. So, yes, guys, today we're going to hop right in. We're going to walk you through some of the diets that people tend to use, why they, feel helpful at first, and where, honestly, some of these sound really helpful, but kind of quietly make your weight loss, your muscle building, your relationship with food harder, not actually easier. So, number one, right off the hop, is fasting. This is one that I think a lot of people do make into a lifestyle. I myself have fasted on and off for 16 years now. I really have. Not like, let's back up for a second. Fasting, when we're talking about fasting, there's a few different types of fasting you might try or hear about. The most common, I think, right now is we hear about the 16 and 8, right? You're fasting for 16 hours. You're eating all of your meals within an 8-hour window. Then you have a little bit of a longer. You've got like 18 and 6. So 18 hours of fasting, 6 hours of eating. A little bit.
You have like a shorter eating window, right? You're not eating between certain hours.
Yep. Then we have something called the 5 and 2, which I think a lot of people actually aren't as familiar with this one. I also did this for a little bit. It's basically where 5 days of the week you're not tracking calories or macros really. You are eating more intuitively, but 2 days of the week you're eating extremely low calorie, almost to the point of fasting for the whole day. So if I remember correctly, for like women, you eat under 600 calories, and for men, it's under.
That's my breakfast is more
Oh yeah,
calories than that.
yeah. Me too, this morning, literally. And for men, you eat, I think it's under not 900 calories, 800 or 900 calories. But yeah, so you have 2 days of the week where you eat very, very little. The idea here is it does really change, you'd think to yourself hearing this, oh, I'd be starving the other days. I would just wind up binge eating. But again, like I'm somebody who also really likes trying different things so I can speak on them as a coach. And yeah, it's really interesting how you're not as hungry as you believe you are because again, you're getting used to eating less.
And I think people have a fear of being hungry. We see that a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I ask, are you hungry? And people are scared to say yes.
Yes.
But being hungry is actually not inherently bad.
No.
It's a good thing. It means your body's using the food you're giving it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Like people don't realize you should be hungry even if you're not in a weight loss phase. If you're never hungry ever, that's probably a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, something's not really working.
Yes. And then we have one other type of fasting. You guys have probably seen this on social media because again, it's very extreme. It's these people that eat these massive meals in one go because they are literally called OMADs, one meal a day. So, they might be eating literally 2,200 calories in one meal. And, you can make some pretty epic meals. So yes, they get a lot of social media buzz, but really no matter what type of fasting we're talking about, I feel like it's one of those ones that actually we see more often throughout the year because yes, a lot of people do feel like it becomes a little bit more of a lifestyle that they can maintain. Mm-hmm. Have you ever done fasting at all?
Well, not intentionally. So I was thinking about that actually as you were talking. I was like, I've actually done a 16 and 8 because when I did my yoga teacher training, I lived immersively for a month there and we would do our morning practice and we wouldn't actually eat breakfast till like 11. And then we would have dinner at like, I don't know, 5 or 6 p.m. So unintentionally, I was eating in that window, but it wasn't like I purposely set out to do that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And sometimes fasting can definitely happen.
I was also eating vegan and stuff. There was a lot going on.
Okay, so you're going to do like a multiple off this.
It's like all of the things all at once.
But yeah, fasting is one of those things that you might be fasting just naturally because you're just like, oh, I'm somebody who never eats breakfast, which is a topic for another day. But yes, it's one of the things that I think have people feeling a lot of control. And at first it can feel quite helpful because fasting, one benefit is it reduces decision fatigue, right? It often will help us create a calorie deficit without even necessarily tracking. Because if you currently are eating, from 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. at night, and you tell yourself all of a sudden, hey, I'm actually going to cut that down, that 13-hour window into a 6-hour window, you're naturally going to wind up eating less. And that makes a very big difference, right? People will lose weight just off of that alone.
And just stomach capacity, right? If you have a smaller eating window and you're trying to get all that food in, you can only keep so much in a container, right? Like if you're trying to, have you ever tried to stuff a pillow into a suitcase? It's kind of like that, right? Yes. But you're doing that with food in your stomach because you're trying to get everything in and you simply can't do it.
Yes. Yeah. If you're telling yourself, I'm going to try and eat these 4 meals in the next 8 hours, I'm eating every 2 hours. By the end of the 8 hours, you're like, wow, I'm pretty satisfied, which makes the next 16 hours easier. At first, it really does feel helpful because even for those reasons alone, it's suppressing appetite during your fasting window. You are getting into a calorie deficit. You're not feeling as fatigued in terms of I got to eat so often, so many times a day. But the big problem with fasting, in my opinion, is that it doesn't teach you how to eat, right? It just teaches you how to delay your eating. So
we're not looking at like content, actual food quality, right? We're just eating at a different time.
Yes.
So if you're still just eating pizza, Not that we hate on pizza. We love a pizza moment. But if you're eating pizza 3 times a day.
Yeah, not exactly going to be super beneficial. The other thing is you might think, okay, but what if I'm fasting and like I'm also working with like, macros and calories and I'm tracking my food? There's still something to be said for learning how to eat, but there's other issues when it comes to fasting. And for a lot of people, especially women, fasting actually creates more stress on the body than it's more of a hindrance than a help. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I want you to think about it like this: longer fasting windows increase cortisol. They increase the stress response in our body. They can potentially make energy crashes worse. They push your hunger later into the day, which for many people often leads to overeating at night. If we were talking about fasting done in the way that would actually benefit you the most, you would eat as soon as you wake up in the morning and you would finish eating at like 4 or 5, maybe 6 p.m. And then you would go like 4 or 5 hours before sleep without food, fast while you sleep.
I think a lot of the time people who want to fast,
they reverse it. Yes.
Right? It's literally called breakfast. It's breaking your nighttime fast so that you have the energy to perform throughout the day. Yeah. Right? Farmers don't go work in the field without breakfast. That's why it's called breakfast. You're breaking your fast. Totally. And so that's why it really should be that earlier window of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is that I need you guys to remember your circadian rhythm, which is your sleep versus your wake cycle. Your circadian rhythm is directly in charge of all macronutrient breakdown. People don't realize this. Your sleep and wake cycle system in your body is in charge of all your macronutrient breakdown. Why? Because your body uses food in the same way it kind of, adjusts to the sunlight or to the daylight. When it's bright outside, your body says, hey, I'm supposed to be awake. When you wake up in the morning after fasting overnight, your body is in a better position to be able to utilize, break down, absorb the food we're taking in.
We talked about this a lot in our shift work episodes. Yeah. And this is part of why like certain fasting windows aren't great, especially if you're working different hours and you're not getting your like regular sleep and wake cycles. You're doubling down on stressing your body out.
Exactly. So your body, again, the ideal way to fast would be to match our sleep versus wake cycle. Your body does not want a lot of food coming in anywhere close to bedtime, simply from a digestion point of view. So that's the other thing here. But yes, fasting for women, it's more of a stress on our body. Men do better with fasting, and they can do better with fasting in longer periods of time. But man or woman, right, if you're also just experiencing hormonal issues that you need to be focusing on, putting your body in a more catabolic state where you're going long periods of time without eating is not going to benefit you, right? We're talking about if you're in perimenopause, dealing with thyroid dysfunction, there's a host of other things that could be going on. I will say, I think fasting is useful if you are currently experiencing digestive issues, right? If we're focusing on clearing out your digestion, we don't want to necessarily be overloading it.
If it's impacting your ability to sleep and stuff, that's why we're talking a lot about like your eating window being earlier in the day. If you are like exploring this, consider that, right? You want to be digesting your food at night. And if you're cramming food in right until you go to bed,
yeah, definitely. But if you are experiencing digestion issues, we're talking H. pylori, SIBO, I never really
know how to say it. Yeah.
I don't know. But, any type of overgrowth, we're not going to the bathroom regularly. Even when you do wake up in the morning, I'm going to get us to push food a little bit. I want digestion I want us to be up, moving, just have water in the body to get digestion going. So again, there are situations, but when we're talking about from a New Year's perspective, you're looking at a diet plan to follow from, again, like a fat loss, weight loss perspective. It can be useful at times. But if I was to like rank fasting in terms of like A tier, B tier, C tier, I'd probably put it in a B tier. If you're a man, I'd probably put it in an A with actually like the right foods, if we're eating the right foods. And if you're in perimenopause or experiencing any type of hormonal shifts that really need focusing on, it's not for you, baby.
It's an F.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, and I did want to say like the OMAD, the 1 meal a day, again, it looks really cool, but if you're working on hunger cues at all, having one massive meal a day is going to disconnect you from hunger cues entirely, right? You're not even learning how to respond to your hunger. You're actually learning and training yourself to ignore it.
It's true. And I kind of think about your body utilizing fuel as a fire. You have to put fuel on the fire to have it burn.
Yeah,
And if you're OMADing one meal a day, so let's say you're eating at 3 p.m, you are probably not having a good day.
Yeah.
Because you got nothing to give. You're probably tired, cranky,
All
brain fog, all of that stuff. And then you tend to rely on other things, right?
Yeah.
Like caffeine or stimulants or whatever. It's not great.
No, it's really not. So that's kind of fasting in a nutshell. Our second one, this is a big one, keto, or very, very low carb. It's funny. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember people talking about eating low carb, but then it feels like it went away for a little bit.
Yeah, it shifted, right? We had low carb. No one talked about keto. And then it was everybody's talking about keto, and low carb was like a thing of the past, but they're they're the same, right?
They really are. But I feel like it's because fats became the enemy for a while.
Yes. And keto, you're like, oh, I can lose weight and eat bacon? Awesome.
Yes, I know. And then eggs were the enemy and bacon was the enemy. And keto obviously has become very, very popular again. I don't even know, for like the last 10 years. It's usually, when you see keto, it's usually paired with like viral recipes, right? Before and after photos. It looks really effective because it looks like it works and it looks like it works fast. I'm not saying it doesn't work, because there are people that have experienced insane results. But how long once they stop keto, if they stop keto, that's my biggest thing when it comes to keto and low carb is, are you truly going to eat like this the rest of your life?
Yeah, because keto in itself is like, in a short kind of summary, it's relying on your body's secondary backup to get energy, right?
Yep.
The body gets energy from carbs.
Yep.
Ketosis is the body getting energy basically from the fats. And so you're forcing your body to use a different system that is not its primary system. And so the minute you come out of ketosis, your body's no longer doing that. And it's very easy to come out of that because your body doesn't want to be there. Yes. And that's why it's hard to stay, long-term doing keto.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you guys have ever seen somebody post like, I lost, 14 pounds in 2 weeks after I started keto, right? Here's what you need to know. When someone goes keto, as Nell was kind of saying, they're switching to very low carb, which means that they're no longer having as much glucose coming in, glucose being carbs. So what's going to happen is their body is going to begin breaking down glycogen, which is their stored carbs, because we all have stored carbs in our system. So your body, once you stop bringing in new glucose, is going to start breaking down stored carbs in both your muscles and your liver, right? And that's to replace the carbs that are no longer being consumed in their diet. You have to remember that for every 1 gram of stored carbs, stored glycogen, there's about 2.7, I believe it is, grams of water that gets stored along with it. So 2 to 3 grams of water for every 1 gram of carb, which means when you stop feeding your glycogen stores, when you stop eating carbs and your body begins burning stored carbs, stored glycogen instead, that 2.7 grams of water that was stored with every gram of glycogen also gets excreted, which equals rapid weight loss. No one loses 14 pounds in 2 weeks. Honestly, they'd be lucky if they even lost 1. They lost 14 pounds of stored glycogen and the water that was being stored along with it. Yeah. And the other thing to keep in mind is like people, when especially in the first month of keto, they lose a ton of nutrients, which is why if you've ever heard people talking about like the keto flu, that's what it is. Because the water loss that's happening along with losing that stored glycogen is also eliminating sodium and potassium from your body. And because your diet is now so low carb, there's not enough sodium and potassium coming in. So people tend to go into this like negative electrolyte balance and they wind up feeling like trash. It's all very like, cyclical. There's all these reasons why, but again, nobody is losing 14 pounds in 2 weeks. They would, like I said, be lucky to have lost 1,
Yeah, it's
know?
kind of like when you get the stomach flu and you're like, wow, I lost 10 pounds, but I feel horrible doing it. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, you're dehydrated, you're not taking in proper nutrients, and you've probably had a fever and sweat for 7 days, right?
Oh yeah, legitimately. Like studies actually show you guys that it takes, like if you're going to start keto, studies show it takes anywhere from 5 to 7 weeks for your body to even switch from primarily burning glucose to burning fat. Like Nell was saying, that secondary system. 5 to 7 weeks for your body to do that. So 14 pounds in 14 days. I don't think so,
And
bitch.
like, yeah, that's over a month. That's 2 months,
That's yes.
really, when we look at it, right? And let
And
me ask
again,
you this. Do you like carbs?
yeah,
Because I do.
legitimately.
I don't want to just eat low carb. I
Yeah,
enjoy carbs. Even if you're like, I eat really healthy.
yeah.
Veggies are a carb. Fruit
Yeah,
is a
yeah, yeah,
carb,
yeah.
right?
It is, a lot of people think keto is just low carb. No, it's insanely low carb. It's, 30 to 50 grams of carbs, if that, a day.
Yes,
It's,
sometimes I pick up low carb like wraps and stuff because they're usually, decent in fiber, higher in protein or whatever. But I always look at what the actual carb amount is on them. And some of them wouldn't even allow your body to do what it
yeah.
needs to do for keto.
Oh,
But they're
yeah.
marketed as keto, right? And so
Yeah.
that's the other thing too, is it's more legwork than you realize if you get into the nitty-gritty like science of it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, in my opinion, carbs are not the enemy,
No.
period. That's my biggest issue with keto, is that it's teaching restriction, and carbs are not the enemy, restriction is. And of course, any type of diet for weight loss or fat loss is going to have some form of restriction, but we're talking about eliminating an entire food group that from the beginning of time has served a massive purpose and benefit to the body. Not to mention, like, this is 2025, right? You're not a caveman. You are going to have social plans, events, potlucks. Is it going to be sustainable for you? Now, here's where keto could be useful potentially, is if you do a carb cycle approach where you do have days that you do eat very low carb, and then you also have several days a week where you eat at a normal carb amount and maybe even a high carb day. Now we're teaching our body to use carbs in a honestly more efficient way, rather than potentially just giving our body, a certain amount of carbs every day when potentially it doesn't need as much coming in, especially if you are trying to lose, upwards of 30 pounds. So I think in a short-term cyclical style, keto could actually be beneficial. Of course, there are certain people with certain medical requirements that can very much benefit from keto, which is where keto originated from. But honestly, if your goal is mostly strength focused, mostly muscle focused, or honestly just consistency around nutrition, chronic carb restriction, which is what keto is, it's chronic carb restriction, is going to work against you, but baby, like it really is.
Yeah, here's my thing. Like, if you're listening and you're like, well, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to know? If there is a diet that specifically removes or villainizes foods that you enjoy eating, it's probably not for you.
She a problem. She a red flag. Yeah, legitimately though, it really is. It really is. You're never going to improve your relationship with the food by being like, I'm never allowed to eat this. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, like I don't ever use the term cheat meal. I hate it.
No, same. Yeah, no.
You can't cheat on something that is planned and worked out and purposeful for you, whether that's eating for a performance-based goal or an aesthetic-based goal, or eating because you like it. There's still purpose.
Yes, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So let's hop into number 3. This is going to be a different one. This is one you guys are probably not expecting, but we actually wanted to talk about the what I eat in a day videos.
Yes, because as fitness influencers, people have asked us, like, why do you do those? Why can we see what you eat in a day?
Yeah,
Pretty
no.
consistently said no.
Mind your business. Mind your business. No, I mean, we do. I definitely share like a lot of recipes, but I try
Yes.
and avoid the full what I eat in a day video. Cause first of all, especially with like back in the day, I would share one occasionally and I'd be like, oh, it'd be a lot of work for somebody to try and figure out. But now with AI, you can literally plug that shit in and it'll give you an estimate. And I don't want people doing what I'm doing, thinking they're going to get the results I've gotten. And
I just think about how many tiny, small, petite women would just be massive if they followed what I eat in a day. Because
yeah, oh yeah,
I take a pretty substantial amount of food,
yeah,
not
yep,
just because I want to build, but because I'm a giant.
yeah.
I just need more calories to be alive.
Totally. So, guys, the like what I eat in a day video is not technically a diet, but honestly, I think it could be one of the more harmful ones on our list
Yes.
because although these videos look fun, they look harmless. I'll watch, there's a guy I follow actually who also is in Toronto. He's just hilarious and he eats an insane amount of food. And so I like always watch his videos just because I'm like, wow, that's so cool. But a lot of people aren't doing that just to watch it from like a wow.
Yeah, or sometimes I'll watch like a major athlete and I'm like, damn, that's impressive.
Yes, exactly, exactly. The videos look harmless. They're like aesthetically pleasing. They feel relatable. The people have good personalities. You're like, oh, this is harmless. I'm just getting some good ideas. But what tends to happen for a lot of people is like one of twofold. One, they either fall into the comparison mindset, and this it can be very subconscious. But think about it. You are watching somebody else's hunger. You're watching their metabolism, their body, their schedule, their lifestyle, and you're subconsciously measuring yourself against it. Yes, you
Yes.
are. You're saying to yourself, I don't look like that. I don't eat like that. Look at how nice their food looks. What's wrong with me? Why can't I make my food look like that? Maybe if I do that, I will have their results. And most of these videos are also a lie. I gotta be honest with you
Yeah.
guys.
What I eat one day does not look what I eat like the rest of the week.
Yes, congratulations. You had a day off work and good energy and you made a beautiful day of eating. Bullshit, you
My
eat
meal
like
prep
that every
day,
single day.
beautiful aesthetic. Day
Yeah.
5, same dank Tupperware.
Yeah, literally me eating off the same plate I haven't cleaned for four
Yeah.
meals of that day. It's true though, right? A lot of the videos are misinformed. A lot of them are blatant lies. A lot of them are, when I say misinformed as well, they're either trying to normalize under eating or like volume eating to the degree that like you just don't need to be doing this, or they're misinformed in the sense that they're like pushing
I've seen a lot of misinformed ones.
yeah, like, oh, I eat 3,000 calories a day and I'm only 5'2" and 130 pounds. Bullshit. It is crazy what is going on out there,
Or
right?
there's like some outrageous claim. Like
Yep.
what I eat in a day to have sparkling gut syndrome. You're like, that's not even a
Yes.
thing, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Watch what I ate today to cure my candida and, fix 7 days of bowel movements.
And world hunger. Like, you're like, these are outrageous claims. Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 They can make small, portions look aspiring. Like, oh, see, I can make a small meal look that good. And like, don't get me wrong, you absolutely can. And
yes.
again, these can be great from the aspect of like, okay, here are some new ideas. Okay, maybe I can try changing things up. And especially if you're bored with your current intake.
And I will say sometimes it's nice to see people not afraid to eat.
Absolutely.
I will
Yes.
say, I do find that to be a positive, but
Definitely.
also I would, even you, I look at your meals, I was like, I'd never eat that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
What are
Man.
you talking about? Deer organ.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
out.
Exactly. That's the thing, right? And to be honest, I almost think I wish we could see more videos of people where they were like, I would never eat that, because it does still give you that reminder of like, we all eat so differently,
Yes.
and that's okay.
Yeah, there's cultural differences. There's, religious differences. There's people eating for those reasons. It's fascinating. And like, just what did you grow up eating? Where in the
Yeah.
world did you grow up?
Yeah.
Did you know you can identify a Canadian based on how they bake? Like,
It's
that's
so
crazy, right?
It's so true. So, guys, you don't need to look like, you don't need to eat like an influencer in order to be healthy. You don't need to eat what they're eating in order to see progress. you can get ideas, but be very careful how many videos you're saving when you're watching these videos, what your thought process is like. You don't need to eat like an influencer to be healthy. You just need to eat like you.
And I'll tell you right now, if they start with a physique check in the mirror, it's an immediate no for me. I'm out.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm not like totally opposed to that, but I know it's yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't say that. If you're flexing, showing off your muscles, I'm like, okay, fine. But if you're trying to make your waist as small as humanly possible, I'm not going to watch your video.
Okay, super quick pause here, because if you're listening to this episode and thinking, I really don't want another January where I go all in and fall off by February, you are exactly who we built our New Year's one-on-one coaching for. Our program is called 2026 Results That Stick. And the goal, if it doesn't sound obvious, is super simple. We want you to start 2026 the way you actually want to end 2026. It's not about losing 10 pounds in January. It's about making sure you're still here with sustainable results come April, come July, come September, come next December. Still moving, still consistent, still seeing progress. We are going to take you through a 4-month, 4-tiered coaching approach. Month 1 is going to be all about setting the foundation. Month 2 is our launch pad. Month 3 is where we literally start stacking results. And month 4 is where we teach you how to sustain every single result you've gotten. Think about it like this: 80% of people fall off by mid-February. And let's be honest, you've probably been part of that statistic. I know I have. Committing to the next 4 months means you're still going to be showing up when most people have already quit. You're going to get programming tailored specifically to you, one-on-one support from me and the other Team Frizzle coaches, as well as community support from other men and women who are working toward the same kind of long-term change as you. If you're ready to stop starting over and actually build results that last, click the link in the show notes and apply for our one-on-one 2026 Results That Stick coaching. And let's build something you're proud of, not just in January or February, but all freaking year long. All right, back to the episode.
Yeah, again, like I'm not totally opposed, because if somebody's like, I'm 12 weeks into a deficit and here's what I'm eating right now. But yeah, I've definitely seen the like kind of ones where it's like they're not saying what they're working on, but there's therefore definitely this narrative of like, I'm as small as possible and this is what I eat in a day. Yeah, so keep that in mind. You don't have to eat like an influencer. You just need to eat like you. Now, for a lot of people, you might be listening to that thinking, but I don't know how to eat like me. And this is why, this January, we are launching, our 2026 Results That Stick one-on-one coaching. We are literally going to work with you one-on-one to give you the support that you need to, help you figure out exactly what your lifestyle looks like and what nutrition looks like, therefore, to meet you where you're at and based off of where it is you want to go. 2026 Results That Stick is literally the program for you if you're more concerned about how you are ending the year rather than how you are beginning the year. Because our goal is not to get you results as fast as possible in January. Our goal is to get you results in April, in July, in August, next December, so that you can literally be in a position where you are never thinking about what diet you have to start again come January. So if that's what you're ready to figure out, if this is the year where you're like, I want a one and done approach because the one and done is literally going to last me the rest of my life, I never have to do this again, click the link in the show notes. Let's hop on a call and talk about exactly what and how we are going to help you accomplish your goals.
Yeah, because I'll tell you right now, the first time I ever worked with a coach, I ate really well-balanced meals, but I ate them for reasons that weren't helpful. I was overeating in excess. I was not maybe balancing the macros I should have been. They were all in there. That was a priority for me. I understood that, but I had no idea how to make it work for me.
Yeah. It makes a really big difference, right? Like a lot of you might feel like, exactly as Nell said, I like understand, but applying it. How do I apply it so that it actually works? Because one thing I'll tell you guys is very few people actually need a new maybe a new workout plan, but very few people need like this, massive diet overhaul. What they need is to learn how to be able to navigate the chaos of life when it comes at them, because that is usually when they find everything else goes out the window. So again, that is exactly what we're going to help you do. Now, Diet number 4, going vegan, or you guys might have even seen like some people do like veganuary.
I'd
like,
never heard of this until you typed it out. I was like, what the heck? I literally Googled it. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I don't know how to say it, but like I've worked with several vegan clients over the years. So like, you know, I find that
I used to be full vegetarian. So
True,
I wouldn't have even thought, oh,
that's funny,
like,
actually.
Vegan
Yeah,
vegetarian is something we should talk about as a diet. I didn't even clock that because it's just, yeah, that's a normal way to eat.
Yeah, totally. No, I if that was your lifestyle before, excuse me, then that totally makes sense. But yeah, I find that like in January, same like, you know, other challenges, we kind of see the vegan challenges, vegetarian challenges explode a bit more.
I would say like when keto rises, why did I say it like that? When keto rises, it's like a lot protein. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, like cut out meat. Now you're vegan.
Yeah.
Two extremes, right?
Yes. It's, you know, there are parts of plant-based eating, I think, that can definitely be beneficial. I think most people in society don't eat enough fiber as it is.
I love plant-based eating, but I like to pair it with other things.
Yes. Balance, baby. She's a real thing. You know, and a lot of people like try and get their fiber from just like artificial sources. But more fruits, more vegetables, more fiber. It can be massively beneficial. And, you know, for some people, even from a digestion perspective, for those reasons, more fruits, more veggies, more fiber, it can definitely help improve digestion and just your awareness.
If you're increasing those, you're likely eating lower calorie because fruits and veggies are inherently lower calorie than high fats, right? Yogurts, eggs, beef, right?
Yeah. You know,
so that's why people see success. Again, creating a caloric deficit without realizing it.
Definitely. We're usually looking to add other things to our plate to like fill our plate out. And so if all of a sudden you're like, hey, well, my add-ons are going to be fruits or veggies, that's going to make a massive difference, not just to your nutrients, to your digestion, but to your overall calorie intake. But what I will say is like when this backfires is, of course, like anything else, when it becomes restrictive instead of intentional. You know, a lot of the big or the common problems that I see is protein winds up being way too low.
I think most people are already eating very low protein without realizing it. And then when you go into something like this, it's even more so.
Yeah, definitely. Not to mention, again, from like a nutrient perspective, a micronutrient perspective, iron, B12, both of these tend to get overlooked.
And really all of your essential amino acids.
Yeah.
You have to supplement. You're missing those because those are from animal-based proteins.
Yes. So exactly. So when protein gets too low, amino acids are going to drop off. And then, yes, we have other nutrients like iron deficiency and B12 deficiency tend to be very common.
And ladies, those are already pretty common for us.
Yes, definitely. B vitamins are huge. Iron, you know, whenever you're having your menstrual cycle, that's she going to ink off. So that makes a big difference. Not to mention just like blood sugar instability, right? When we are not getting a fully balanced meal, your blood sugar levels are going to reflect that. All of your macronutrients are essential for a reason, because they do really all contribute to maintaining good blood sugar. When we wind up having more carb heavy meals, like tends to be the case in a vegan lifestyle, even in a vegetarian lifestyle, when energy drops or, you know, hunger skyrockets, people just assume that like vegan eating doesn't work for them instead of recognizing that it was just like never properly supported to begin with.
Yeah, because I've had a lot of people ask about like, should I be vegan, or I want to eat vegan. And the first thing I ask them is like, okay, well, what are your protein sources? Because we're looking at tofu, seitan, I always say it wrong, things like that. And they go, oh, I won't eat any of those. And I'm like, veganism is not for you. Yeah. Right? Yep. Like if you're relying on tofurkey and that's your only thing, and Oreo cookies because they're vegan, it's not going to do what you think it's going to do, and you're not going to feel good doing it. But if you're like, yeah, I freaking love lentils and tofu, I'm like, okay, we can absolutely walk down this path together.
Yes, definitely. And like, let's balance that shit out, because it does make a massive, massive difference. So number 5 here, guys, this is, we kind of touched on this in the intro, but 75 hard.
Yeah, and we're including this because it's not necessarily diet based, which all of these other ones are, but it is very restrictive. And if you've been listening, you've been hearing a trend here. Big restrictions cause us to fail.
Yes, yeah. And 75 hard. So it's an interesting challenge because it kind of incorporates all the elements. What I do like about 75 hard is the habits. So,
Yes.
okay, first of all, if you guys aren't familiar with 75 hard, you basically have 5 daily rules that you're trying to, or tasks, right? That you're trying to follow.
Like a to-do list.
Basically, yes, for literally, as the name implies, 75 days. So diet is in here. You're following a structured diet. No cheat meals. They do refer to it as cheat meals. No alcohol are 2 big elements of nutrition/diet. Okay. You are going to also then hit, from a workout perspective, 2 45-minute workouts, and one has to be outside. Yeah. Now, if you live somewhere cold, like that's really hard to do. But here's the thing. One of those workouts can actually be walking. They don't give you a daily step goal. So it's more movement, 2 movement sessions throughout the day. And to be honest, if you were to take one of these 45-minute workouts, using the air quotes, and say, I'm walking for 45 minutes and that's what I'll do outside, I think that can be beneficial because even when you're cold, you can bundle up and do it. But walking is also low stress. You know, we encourage our clients, we usually give them daily step goals as well.
And walking post meals aids in digestion. Like there's lots of benefits to walking. I don't,
definitely.
Unless you have a physical reason that you can't, I think you should go for a walk.
Yeah, definitely. And then the other, workout, if you're working out for 45 minutes, it's not over the top in terms of timeline. It's pretty reasonable. If we're getting in, a good strength session. Now, here's the thing. They do want you to do that for every day. So that's where one of my kind of yellow flags pops up, because people will literally think I got to lift weights every day.
Yeah, because when I hear workout, in my mind, workout is like strength training or purposeful cardio that's outside of walking. Whereas like active recovery and things like that, I then sort of classify yoga, swimming, lower impact stuff, right?
Exactly. But those things could apply here. So if you were, let's say, if the goal is 7 days a week, 3 or 4 times a week, you're lifting weights and doing your walk. And then the other 3 or 4 days a week, you're doing swimming, you're doing yoga, you're taking a cycle class and walking. I think that can actually be great. Now, the habit-based goals with 75 hard, because there's still 2 other tasks, they are habit-based. So read 10 pages of a book. I think it's
supposed to be personal development. Yeah. Or something like that. Yeah. It's not for fun.
Yes. And the last one is just to take a progress photo. So I actually think that it provides a ton of fantastic structure. The thing with 75 hard is that it doesn't provide enough explanation, in my opinion, within that structure. So again, a lot of people will think I got to work out twice a day. I'm going to do 2 strength sessions. I'm going to lift weights 7 days a week. I'm going to lift weights and do cardio, intense cardio.
Yeah, the rule is, and you have to follow a structured diet. But people, we incorporate the extreme, right? Oh, I'm going to do keto for 75 hard, right?
Yeah.
Or instead of I'm going to make sure I have all of these nutrients on a plate, or I'm going to stay within this caloric bracket, right?
Exactly.
So we miss the mark there a lot of the time.
Yes. And then my bigger issue with 75 hard is that, okay, so on one hand, it's very motivating. 75 days. Right? You think to yourself, I can do anything for 75 days, which you absolutely can.
Absolutely.
It gives you a deadline instead of working with maybe a who knows
an extended deadline. I will give it that. It's not this 21 days or, 40, 50 days. It's a pretty extensive timeline, which I appreciate.
See, I don't actually think so. 10 weeks, in my opinion, is not an extensive timeline, which is
better than a lot of what others are promising.
Yeah, but see, in my opinion, that's still not a win.
No, I think 16 weeks is a bare minimum.
Yeah, for sure. If you're seeing 8-week, blitzes and stuff like that, for me, I'm the lesser of two evils still isn't a win. 10 weeks. I mean, but that's also why they can't say this to you. Like, I want you to do this for 6 months, because the 2 workouts a day, for some people, no alcohol, it would be too much. In our last episode, we literally talked about why one of the reasons you're not successful is you think you have to do everything all at once, and it's not sustainable long term. And 75 hard kind of flirts with that line. It's something you can do for 75 days, but the program is literally built off of the idea of perfect adherence.
Yes, because if you miss a single one of those tasks, you start back at day 1.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
that
my
can be really
issue with
demotivating.
it.
Yes.
Because sure, you need some sort of drive, right? Like, there are going to be days where you don't want to do things and you're like, I can do it anyways. I can do hard things. But what happens when life blows up? Because I have seen this happen to people that I know, that I went to school with. They were doing it. They were through it. And then literally the most traumatic thing that can happen in your life happened.
Exactly.
And you had to stop. But now your brain goes, I've failed that and I have to keep trying. And when I get close to that point, that memory comes back up.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it starts to become this ingrained belief of, I can be successful only to day 60. I can be successful only till 4 weeks. And then it's like we're looking for the thing that will throw us off, because we've told ourselves, I'm never going to get past this point. So this idea of like perfect adherence, no flexibility, like they're framing it to you in the aspect of mental toughness. 75 hard is basically saying to you, this is for people that have what it takes only.
Yeah,
the toughest of the tough. Yeah, mental toughness. And again, that's why it's so motivating, because you're like, hell yeah, I'm one of those people.
Because you are tough. And I want you to believe those things about yourself.
For sure.
I want you to actually believe them and put them into practice.
Yeah, and I want you to believe them for longer than 75 days. Extreme feels powerful. It gives you a sense of identity, right? People say, what are you doing this year? And you're like, I'm doing 75 hard. I'm a 75 harder. It makes you feel disciplined. But the problem with 75 hard is that it's built entirely on all or nothing thinking. If you miss one workout, you have failed. You eat one planned food, you start over.
I have fallen asleep before I wrote my journal, or I have picked up a book and been like, I only want to read 8 pages today.
Yeah.
I'm still doing those tasks. I still have those habits, but some days they're just not happening.
Yes, exactly. So like, this idea of, 8 pages instead of 10,
fail.
Yes.
That's harsh.
Yeah. You only did one workout for 45 minutes and one workout for 15 minutes.
Your walk was 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Eating one planned food. You got to start over. That does not actually build confidence. It builds fear. It literally does. It's a fear of flexibility. It's a fear of real life. It's a fear of messing up. And when the challenge ends after 75 days, most people don't feel empowered. They feel lost, because I just did something and now what do I do?
It's true, because let's say you make it through and you give yourself a little pat on the back, but it was hard and you're running on empty at this point because you're burnt out probably. What do you do next? Fall back into old habits?
Yeah, it's here's the thing. 75 hard is about discipline, but it's discipline without sustainability. And discipline without sustainability is literally just burnout in disguise. That's all it is. And again, it's an extreme that sounds super motivating, because baby, we love those extremes.
And I love a reading goal, or, I don't drink, but I'm a huge supporter of limiting it when you're trying to achieve a goal, because it does make it very difficult. I'm not saying don't drink. I'm not saying anything like that, but it does really kind of set a barrier in you reaching your goals if it's a constant for you. And so being able to give it up for a while and see how your body feels is a great thing. Totally. And so if you have a rule that says you have to do that, it's easier than going, I want to just see what happens. But then what, right?
Exactly. And sometimes, like, I will say sometimes people just need that initial spark with certain things. Like, okay, I can stop drinking for 30 days. And they surprise themselves. They're like, wow, I literally didn't have a drink for 30 days. And I'm realizing after all this time, maybe I don't need it.
Yeah, I can still have fun socially, or I don't need to order a cocktail every time I eat out.
Yeah, that can maybe be the thing, that they don't need another plan once it ends, because they've just now proven to themselves they don't actually need it. But when we're talking about fitness, nutrition, habits, again, in our episode 2 episodes back, we literally talked with you guys about how to set up your goals for success. And part of that process was asking yourself the question, can I do this for the rest of my life? And if the answer was no, we're not doing it. And with 75 hard, you cannot do it for the rest of your life. And that's the question we want you guys to continue to ask yourself with every diet we talked about on this pod. Can I do this for the rest of my life? Could I do keto? Could I do carnivore? Could I be a vegan for the rest of my life? If your answer is genuinely yes.
I honestly, like, I go back and forth. I think I could be a vegan for the rest of my life.
Yeah, well, you've also already done it.
But I also really like plant-based proteins, and I understand that certain things are missing, and so I can supplement and take an approach that way. But everyone's like, I like bacon still.
Yeah, totally. That's the other thing, guys. Like, as I mentioned, even when we talked about keto, is stop thinking about these diets in terms of all or nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe for you are going to follow a vegan approach Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday.
Yeah, I love a plant-based day.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing. And it's you explore new foods, you explore different sources of all kinds of micro and macronutrients, right?
Yep. Maybe for fasting, you have travel days for work or school or whatever it is, a couple of days a week. And so it actually is very beneficial for you to fast 3 days of the week on certain days.
Or you scale back your eating. So at the end of the day, you're not eating till 7, 8, 9, 10 p.m. Maybe you stop at 5 or 6.
Yep. But again, I'm talking in the context of just like temporary days. So like, maybe you only are doing it, I'm just trying to say like 3 days a week. Yeah. Maybe you're doing the same thing with vegan, right? 3 times a week. Maybe you're only following a low carb approach like half of the week, because again, as we talked about, it can be beneficial to have a cyclical carb approach. That's totally fine. Maybe even from the influencer standpoint, you are getting a cool idea off Instagram once a week and trying that out.
Yeah, one of my goals for this year was to try one recipe once a month. Because I was like, well, I'll do it once a week. No, I won't. I hate cooking. So it was to find a recipe and try it once a month. And I used a lot of like influencer videos for that. Yeah, right? Like, this is where we have to... A lot of us think we don't fall into all or nothing thinking, but we still do. Yep. We think if I start something new, it has to be this way. I catch myself doing it all the time still. It's a very real thing. I think it's just a trait maybe we have by human nature. I don't really know. Don't quote me on that. But again, feel free to make these things work with you, right? Because the common trend with all of these literally diet trends that would be more on the red flag side of things is that if you only follow these as laid out, they all work simply because you have removed choice. Yes. They rely on rules instead of skills. They reduce calories without necessarily teaching you about sustainability. And with every single one of these, if you're wanting to do them or you're looking at them, that says that you want to change what you're doing, and that's admirable. And that usually says you want to take the next step into taking care of your health and wellness. And that's important. That's a huge step, and you should be very, very proud of that.
Yes, exactly. When life gets busy, when it gets stressful, emotional, impactful in any way, if your plan only works in January, it's not a plan. It's a phase. And it's a phase that is never going to bring you real sustainable results, because real sustainable results only come from learning how to eat in a way that you can repeat on the hard days, on the emotional days, on the imperfect days, right? This is how weight loss sticks. This is how muscle is built. This is how you stop starting over every single January. And this is exactly what we are going to teach you how to do in 2026, results that stick.
Yeah, so because it's lifestyle. It's not crash diet. It's not fast results. It's truly a lifestyle.
Exactly. So we want you guys to end 2026 the same way we're starting 2026, which is different than every single year before. And if that's exactly what you want for your 2026, then we want you guys to click the link in the show notes below so we can, again, chat with you more about what that looks like. It is a 4-month system. When you start up with us this January, month 1 is our foundation month, where we are going to really dive in deep to what it is we are accomplishing and habits. Month 2 is our launch pad. Month 3 is where results are literally going to start stacking. And month 4 is where we are teaching you guys how to maintain the results that we have given you for the rest of the year. And when most people have fallen off mid-February, you are already committed to being with us to April. So let's make it happen.
Which is funny because we just talked about 75 not being enough, but 16 weeks being of like, okay, jumping off point.
40, 12, 16. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's literally another.
But that's the bare minimum, right? Like,
yeah,
to
6
start
weeks.
to have a habit, right? Not just go through the motions.
Yeah, for sure. So, diets, guys, diets and trends. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, as always, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Hit us up a message on Instagram. You guys can find me at coach.frizzle on everything, which will also be in the show notes below.
And I'm everywhere at coach.alana.nell.
Awesome. All right, guys. Next episode, I think we're doing another New Year's one. Otherwise, it's a surprise. You guys are just going to have to turn in.
It's always a little bit of a surprise, even for us. We're like, let's do this. No, just kidding.
Yeah. All right, you guys, we hope that you have had a wonderful holiday season whenever you're hearing this, or if your Christmas hasn't happened, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. We hope you guys have a phenomenal holiday season, and we'll see you guys next episode / possibly in the new year.
Yeah, I guess it is New Year. Hey, we'll see you then in 2026. Bye.